Awesome. Welcome everyone to another pivot session with me, Action Coach Christian Harbeck, and sitting next to me, I've got Matthew Ziranek sitting from Rocket Expansion, a marketing media agency. Thank you, Matthew, for coming to this interview. This is really awesome. The whole purpose behind this is supporting and promoting the phrase local is lekker. And I'm doing this with businesses which I'm approaching randomly. You have been asked, and I'm grateful that you can jump onto this interview. And I'm going to be asking you a couple of questions, how things are going. And then, feel free to answer as it comes along. And I think we're going to go straight into the thick of things. So,
thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So tell me a bit about your business and why you started it.
So for the longest time, I've been sort of in the digital world, more like more the sort of creative side, sort of digital painting and illustration and that kind of thing. Did a lot of copywriting, writing various blog articles and everything like that. And then I just saw the gap for digital marketing opening up in a huge way in the last few years. And then I decided to co-found Rocket Expansion with my partner. And we've pretty much never looked back. It's been only like 2 and some years now, but the business has literally rocketed, lived up to its name. We started offering mainly websites in the beginning. Then we moved on to, I got qualified as an SEO specialist under the guy who project managed SEO for Airbnb and PayPal. And
awesome.
Did his course, then I got a little bit of private coaching, and then that's really helped us reach sort of our specific audience, because now we get free traffic from Google, and then now we also do paid ads. We offer Google ads, we offer Facebook ads. We're looking at starting to offer Amazon ads, and we've also built a specific niche around authors. So we mainly build websites for authors, but we actually build websites for pretty much any entrepreneurial kind of target market, but we have a specific kind of niche we concentrate on authors. So we've just always tried to offer the best possible value we can and go the extra mile for our clients. That's pretty much part of our policy, is going the extra mile as part of our policy. And that's just worked out really well for us.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear. So quite intrigued that you are focusing on authors. Anyone specific you want to mention?
I mean, mostly it's fantasy authors. If you like fantasy, James Maxwell, he recently did his website. He was number 2 and number 6 on Amazon bestseller list for fantasy and science fiction in the last months. Last month. So, I mean, he's killing it on Amazon. So he's one of our bigger clients. We did a website for a Grammy Award winner as well. He was the guy who did the 2 Soweto Gospel Choir Grammy Award winning albums. He produced them. His name's Robin Hogarth, very, very cool guy. So we deal with celebrities. We're dealing with a really, really big celebrity now, but hush, hush, non-disclosure, so I can't tell you, but I mean, you definitely know who they are. But, sometimes you're not allowed to reveal these things. So we're doing a big website that's going to be launched in September. That's going to be quite exciting. It's going to be a first for Africa with a big celebrity. So, that's authors and celebrities and artists generally. We're also marketing for an aspiring, not aspiring, sort of a singer, pianist in the UK who's a bit of a rising star. Like, we think of him as like the Sting of a few years' time.
Oh, really? But, so the future Sting.
The future Sting, I think, you don't know, but I mean, he could be. He's that good. He's amazing. So that's kind of our niche. That's where we live. But we also market for engineering firms, dentists, software development companies, pretty much you name it. We have all sorts of business clients as well.
That is really awesome. Sure. I mean, that's so interesting. It's almost like getting shiny object syndrome. It's like, who are these people that you're doing websites for? Especially when it comes to celebrities. I suppose I'm going to be stalking your website and see maybe something might be popping up in future. But if you're not allowed to disclose it, it's all good.
You'll definitely see, later this year.
Yeah. So you pretty much also mentioned before, so you started about 2 years ago. And have pretty much run through who your ideal audience and target market or target audience is. Is there any?
I can say even more specifically. We basically we serve businesses who make generally we serve more of the international market. So businesses that are making between like $100,000 and maybe like more like $5 million a year sort of revenue, that kind of range. They must be owner-operated businesses. We don't deal with startups. And we're a marketing agency. We don't do sales. So we found that when we deal with startups, we end up trying to help the client with their sales process. And if they haven't got their sales process ironed out to begin with, like, they're going to think we're failing when we're giving them perfect qualified traffic to their sales process, but they just don't know how to sell their product. So it's kind of important that the product can sell decently well, and then we'll do the rest. And it also helps if the business is a little bit more established, that they're not like super needy and they want everything done for like nothing, because honestly, like, it's a lot of work and we're actually pretty good at what we do. So we do have to charge for it. Yeah,
that makes sense. You don't really get anything from nothing. So 100% involvement gives you 100% results. So simple principle. So, obviously COVID has arrived and it's still around. Has this impacted you and your business in any way?
I mean, probably if anything, it's helped us, to be honest.
Okay.
It's not the same thing with most businesses, but so, I mean, in the beginning, like, there's basically a lot of noise. Like, nobody really knew what was going on. Like, is it really as bad as they say? Are the figures really as bad? Is it as contagious? There was so much uncertainty. Nobody really knew what was really going on. I think that's still to some degree the case. But the main thing is like the sort of distraction, the kind of media distraction, and the sort of panic aspect of it was almost deafening. So we just decided, we don't see our business slowing down. We already actually moved to like a kind of home operated, we have a home studio and we operate out of this. We already had that kind of model going, and all of our kind of staff are basically working from home anyway. And like, I mean, a lot of our work gets done by someone in Port Elizabeth. We have all the rest of our staff are basically in Cape Town. But now the Port Elizabeth guys now moved to Cape Town. So all the staff are local staff. But we pretty much never see them anywhere. And all our clients pretty much are not in Cape Town anyway. So it's always been a lot of Zoom calls or, FaceTime. So it made very, very little difference to us. So as soon as we decided, cut out the noise, we get that there's a situation, but it doesn't help sort of just going into a big panic about it. Let's just work super, super hard, and let's just
move on.
Yeah, get down to work. So we're actually like working like really long days, like some starting at like 5 a.m. and working till 10 at night. And we pretty much at least minimally doubled our business, like our production and our income since COVID in the last few months.
That's well done.
It's been an incredible sort of, taking the lemons and making some pretty sweet lemonade. That's
awesome. That's brilliant. So congratulations that your business is booming. And I suppose another question is, there are 1 or 2 takeaways that you might have done something different. Is there anything that you have, obviously since COVID has started, that you have done different that has helped you along a little bit better?
For sure. So I think the main thing is like using how COVID helped you kind of cut out distractions that were just noise in my life and in the people in our business lives. So like, for one thing, the whole COVID thing itself made a lot of noise. Like, oh my goodness, everybody's going to die. It's as bad as the Spanish flu, whatever. Believe what you want. But if you plug into that noise, you aren't going to be productive. You're not going to get anything else done. So we just really, really went, hey, this is an opportunity to sort of cut out everything else and just invest a lot of time into producing an incredible amount of good stuff and really taking this business off. And I think it's all that work. I mean, I'm sure we're easily doing 80-hour weeks, and it wasn't that hard, because you're not going to go out. You're not going to, you're not going to hang with your friends. You're not going to go watch a movie or whatever, or go surfing or any of that kind of stuff that you could have done during COVID, because you couldn't really, right? So I think it's just a simple sort of real sweat equity, hard work, grind. And I mean, we did it very smartly. We're not stupid. We invest our time smartly, but just that intense focus for those 2 months, I think was, I mean, look, we were already doing well. Our statistics didn't actually change. They pretty much just kept on going, and there was quite a bit of a spike just in the 1 month. So we were already going to do well, but I think it just gave us even more momentum to just take it off to the next level when we just couldn't do anything else. Yeah.
That's
But
really
the main
brilliant.
thing, I think the main takeaway is not being distracted and taking it as an opportunity to get less distracted as opposed to more distracted. I think that's the main takeaway that I would say is a useful thing for people to use.
Makes absolute lot of sense. So during times like this as business owners, you know, we need to think differently. Have you had like a pivot or a strategy session where you sat down with everybody and it's like a think tank? You know, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to test and measure. This is just like a new strategy, or is it just, as you said before, smooth sailing?
So I kind of don't really go on the whole new normal thing. I'm kind of like a bit of a devil's advocate to that. I kind of think the opposite. I think if you're going to go on everything has changed, then just go and look back at every single other time everybody's saying everything has changed, and you'll see how little things actually changed. Like, I mean, like the digital marketing revolution, you could say everything has changed. For sure, a lot changed, but the fundamentals of marketing have remained exactly the same for over 100 years. I mean, the marketing fundamentals is something called the marketing funnel, or the sales funnel, or purchase funnel. That was invented in 1898. That's been around forever. People think that that's some sort of new click funnel, you know, internet whiz nonsense. That's been around for 22 years, right? That's a long time. So the fundamentals of marketing don't change. The fundamentals of business don't change. I'm sure the tactics on the ground change, but if you go back to fundamentals and you go back to strategy, you'll see that the solutions are the same thing. It's just you just gotta use those solutions and see how they apply to the world now. So it's really just evaluate the world now, see what's happening now, but don't try and reinvent the wheel, because it doesn't need to be reinvented. That's really seems to work well for us.
Absolutely. And I'm actually now thinking about it, I've got quite a big collection of vintage magazines. I'm not going to say what kind of vintage magazines, but there's some very interesting advertising. And I look at it from the 70s, and then I recently opened one of those magazines, and how the advertising was done and how it was presented is actually very intriguing. The messaging has changed a little bit. Visuals are pretty much the same. It's very interesting. Not much has changed from the 70s up until now, which I found really intriguing.
It's really the only thing that's changed is we can track people very, very accurately. I mean, with digital, you don't have to pay for, like, digital is a sort of a pay-per-click model, whereas traditional advertising was like a reach-based model. So if I'm like putting in a magazine, I'm just going to say, cool, well, this million people is going to read it, maybe. We don't even know. Obviously, digital, maybe only interested in 25,000 of those million people, and you just paid to reach them. So yes, it's a little bit more accurate, and all the privacy invasion stuff comes in as well, obviously.
I know.
It's the same principles, right? You're still just basically building a list, selling them something, giving them an introductory offer, taking them on to your next offer, you know, that value ladder. Exactly the same thing. It's always been the case. There's nothing really different about marketing forever. I mean, since marketing's been marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. I like what you're saying. So just an interesting quote here. You know, it's been said, smart people learn from their mistakes and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So what mistakes have you made or made along the way, and how can other entrepreneurs learn from your experience?
That's an interesting one. So, I mean, maybe this is a kind of I don't know if this is a mistake, but like just one thing I could comment on that is that, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you're obviously going to have to take some risks, because you, by your nature, you're starting something new. You're not just sort of, you know, hanging on somebody else's coattails and just being an employee and going on. You're creating something. You're going to be moving into areas you're not familiar with, and you are going to make mistakes. So I mean, like, I'm kind of almost in the frame of mind where I don't really consider that I make mistakes. I'm very much like that fall forward kind of approach. So I mean, if you can call them mistakes, but I think that as long as you take a bit of a lesson from each mistake, then how much of a mistake really is it? It's like, if you think of a so-called mistake as just an investment in your own you know, education, which is really what it should be, then you kind of become almost unstoppable, because everything just builds you up instead of breaking you down. So I'm kind of like a mindset type of approach, you know, and I really do try and live that in my business. And I think that's been also part of our success, is that we don't really get into this, oh, poor me, miserable, the world's falling down. Just go, oh, cool, wow, look at this. How can we change? Okay, cool, you know. And then we just become stronger and stronger, instead of, oh my goodness, everything's falling apart. Let's go and fall in a hole and die.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense around that. You know, when babies start to walk, I mean, they have got the willpower to get up again and get up again, and they also get encouraged to get up again. So it's like, you know, we've been in this strange phenomenon where people are pointing fingers when you do a mistake. So I think it should be something, you know, made a mistake. Obviously, if you do it twice, think about it really again that you don't do it again. But, you know, be like a toddler. You know, you stumble, you fall, get up again, and just do it.
And take responsibility. If your mistake negatively impacts a client or negatively impacts an associate or, you know, some sort of partner in a joint venture or whatever, take responsibility. Say, cool, I got it. I messed up there. How can I make it right?
Yeah.
You know, like, and then fix it and then build it into your policy. Like, I'm also a big advocate of building policy around things that work. So like, if you've got something that works, make that part of your company policy. If you've got something that's clearly showing not to work, like one of our policies, one of our mistakes is that we started taking on startups in the beginning. Startups are not a good way to do well if you want to, you know, be a consultant. Yeah. So that was a mistake we made, but we learned. Okay, cool. Our policy, we're not going to take on startups. So every time there's a mistake, you sort of use a policy to put in place that in future you don't make the same mistake. Jeez, well, what a pleasure. Thanks for that mistake, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that builds character, builds strength, mental capacity, it's increased, just everything gets better. But let me get to my next question. So if I could turn back the clock for 12 months, would you be doing something differently? Or what would you have done differently?
Probably not, to be honest. Not really. I mean, like, I probably would have, you know, had taken a bit more breaks during COVID, and I probably would have got a less probably would have traveled a little bit, which I'm probably not going to be able to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, not a hell of a lot. I mean, working hard is pretty much what we do. Yeah. I don't know what necessarily. The only thing maybe I would have done differently, even like knowing COVID, is I would have almost completely ignored it.
Yeah.
One thing that I would have done differently. Because I mean, we pretty much did that, but we had to realize that, hey, this is just a big distraction. Let's just get on with it. So if I did it differently, I would be even more like that, because that was one of the real successful approaches. So that's maybe the only thing I would have done differently.
Oh, that's very cool. And then your second to last questions. I mean, I have your website address, and which I'm going to share in this interview, which the audience can actually look at. Is there anything that you're offering to clients at the moment? Anything special, like a campaign that they can reach out to you and take advantage of?
So, I mean, all our services are special. we don't have any real particular, like, okay, cool, this is our offer for the moment. Okay. But I mean, one thing we can say is we have great social media advertising, amazing Google advertising. We give you like return on your ad spend. So you spend $1, you get back 2 or 3 in return, or sometimes more, right? But we're very, very client-centric business. So what you get with us is you'll get a lot of personal care, and we really do go the extra mile. So that's part of our policy. We believe in giving much more than we get, and that's also been a big part of our success. And also, you'll get you'll get a real partnership and relationship, which is not always the case. Some digital agencies don't really listen to what their clients want, and it's all like rah rah, how much you're paying me. We're not like that at all. We literally we go the extra mile for our clients. And I think that's the main thing we offer. If you want something like that, international wise, we're not super expensive. South Africa wise, sometimes we're expensive. I don't know. That's just how much is it? How long is a piece of string? It totally depends on like what kind of client you are and how big your budget is and everything like that. So we're definitely very cheap to some South African clients. But I mean, on our website, you can you'll give away. You can schedule a call with me if somebody wants to. Yeah.
That is really good. Last question is, tell me, what is the most inspiring thing for you today?
Most inspiring thing for me today, I mean, I'm going to do a talk at a business sort of group that I'm part of this evening, and I'm pretty excited about that. That's the only thing I'm really excited about today and working at that. That's pretty much been consuming most of my day. We're about to launch a pretty awesome website for a military science fiction author. It's got video and all these crazy spaceships. It's like Star Wars on steroids in a website. I mean, that's pretty exciting. We've got that pretty close to being done. And we're about to get a website with another, I think it's going to be a Harvard MBA also, which is going to be quite fun as well. We always got lots of fun things going on, I guess. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, well, cool. So I have to say, I mean, I think we could have chatted on a bit longer, but yeah, we want to keep it short and sweet. I just want to thank you again for your time. It's been really valuable. This, you know, getting a bit of a background view of your business and what you do. It's really awesome. I have to congratulate you. And I'm definitely going to be hoping you're going to get some extra business through this. And just thank you for your time and for your energy you've been giving. It's really, really awesome. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.